Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2309BN. Today's date is October 22nd, 2020, and the title of the episode is Booms Incoming. This is not a drill. Deep state feeling the pain. No escape. Let's talk about our health. Now, as everyone knows, to follow the keto diet, it's very difficult because you need to cut out all the carbs that you normally eat, like pasta, wine, bread, and a strict keto diet isn't for everyone, which is why you need to use Keto Elevate. In less than a month on Keto Elevate, you'll notice increased energy, better appetite control, more youthful skin, and a noticeable boost in your mental clarity. Just add a scoop to your morning drink. There's never any taste or odor or clumps. You can still have a glass of wine or beer, but unlike the typical keto diet, you can still support elevated ketone levels. And there are many benefits despite having some carbs. Get your own 51% off and free shipping by going to ketowithx22.com or click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, they are panicking. Look what has come out. We have Ghislaine Maxwell's deposition that came out. We have a lot more information about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and others that this is connected to. And we can see that the corrupt politicians, they realize that everything that they have been doing for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it is now coming under the spotlight. It's been moved from the shadows and it's been brought out into the light. Now everybody can see this. Yes, the mainstream media is going to say it's Russian disinformation. Yes, they're going to try to spin it. Yes, they're going to try to censor it, which they're doing right now. They're shutting down accounts all over the place. Why are they doing this? Because they know that Trump and the Patriots, what they're doing is they're releasing this information that is very, very damaging to Joe Biden. Not just to him, but to the rest of the individuals. This is just the beginning. And what they're doing is they are producing a little bit at a time to tell the story, the narrative. If you noticed, they brought out the emails, the texts, then they followed up with confirming it with other individuals, and then they're going to come out with the pictures of crimes against humanity. This is about making them feel as much pain as possible. Making them feel and squirm. Remember, the art of war is to see how they react next. And what they've done already is they tried a false flag attempt. Now, a lot of people think false flags, oh, there's going to be a bombing over here, there's going to be shooting over there. But we need to remember the definition of a false flag. A false flag operation is an act committed with the intent of disguising the actual source of responsibility and pinning the blame on a second party. And this is what they've done with Iran and Russia and with the Proud Boys, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. And we'll be talking about everything that has to do with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the other corrupt politicians. And what I've done is I've integrated all this into Q's post. So let's get started here. We know that Ghislaine Maxwell, her deposition from 2016, it was unsealed. And they released it. And it shows that Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend was very combative, very defensive under tough questioning 4 years ago. And she pretty much said nothing. She said, "I never saw any inappropriate underage activities with Jeffrey ever." Now, do you really think that's true? No, this is what she was told to say. In reality, the FBI, the Department of Justice, they already have all this information. But again, this is being brought out to show that she is lying about all of this. Yes, back in 2016, she never thought it would get this far. But here we are today, and this was done on purpose. Tracy Beans tweeted this out. Read this exchange where she tries to deny her initials on the flight logs. And I'll just read a small portion here. And in this transcript, the initials are GM. And she tries to pretend that they're not hers, which I find very interesting. And this is one of the pages from the document, and it says, question, in looking at the flight logs and looking up, let's move up a couple of lines. If you start at the top, you are going to see JE, then JE, and then this is redacted, GM, JE, GM. Are these your initials? No, they're not. I don't know what you're talking about. So basically, she's pretending that she knows nothing because this was back in 2016, and she never thought this would go any further. But here we are in 2020. Does she have protection? The blocks have been removed. Now it's going to show that she's lying. Everything that she said. And we see already that this is going to be falling apart. Now, why was this brought out at this moment in time? I do believe there's going to be a link to Hunter Biden and the Bidens and many other individuals. And this is creating the story, the narrative. And this is all going to come together in the end. But you have to bring people on board. Yes, I know the mainstream media is blocking it, but the thing that's happening right now is the people are starting to hear these things. They're starting to question it, and they want to know more. And as they go to search for it, they're starting to realize the people that they're looking at, all of a sudden their accounts disappear, and then they want to know more. Why would this happen? And this is going to get worse and worse for them. They will have to address it at one point. And this is when it all falls apart. And how will they address it? Probably with more censoring. Now, what's very interesting is that the Senate Judiciary Committee votes 12-0 on Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett. The Democrat members of committee boycotted the vote. But what's very interesting, and Praying Medic points this out, the Senate Judiciary approves the SCOTUS nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. A full Senate vote is scheduled on Monday the 26th. Barrett was nominated by POTUS on September 26th, which means this was exactly 30 days done in 30. And whose birthday is it on October 26th? Hillary Clinton. Do you think this is a coincidence? No. This has to do with Scalia. And it's a message to the Clintons. Now, what's very interesting is we know moving forward from Q, and we kind of figured it out ourselves, that the deep state, the mainstream media, social media companies, they're preparing to shut everyone down. We're seeing a lot of people today got their Patreon account shut down. If you're looking for me on Spotify, that has been banned. And we're going to see a lot more of this as more and more information comes out. And pretty soon, most of the people that you follow most likely will not be on social media anymore. But we see Josh Hawley, he's moving forward. He has the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they have just voted to subpoena Facebook and Twitter. All Republicans, they voted yes. So it looks like that they're going to be bringing these people in now. Does this mean they're going to solve the problem? No. They're going to say it's glitches. No, they must have made a mistake. Or yes, they violated the terms of service. And they're just going to explain all of this away, and basically nothing's going to come about all of this. And we've seen this before. But there are different lawsuits that are happening right now with the Department of Justice. Antitrust lawsuits against Google, Facebook, and others. And I do believe all of this is going to be moving forward. And that's where they're going to dig deep and get the real information. All these hearings, they just want them to testify so they can catch them on lies and use them later on. But you're not going to have the CEOs admit that, yes, we're just banning everyone. It's not going to happen that way. But what I find very interesting is that Trump, he signed an executive order. And this executive order aims to rein in bureaucracy role in policymaking. Now, the order is intended to address what Trump administration officials say is a concern about the growth of the federal bureaucracy and about an increasing willingness by Congress to delegate policymaking authority to executive branch agencies. Because of the civil service protections, career federal employees essentially can make and design policy details and rules with little or no public accountability. Trump is delivering on his promise to make Washington accountable again to the citizens it's meant to serve. What is he doing? This reform will increase accountability in essential policymaking positions within government. This way, they're now accountable. And his executive order creates a new category of federal employees involved in policymaking, which is Schedule F, for the personnel in agencies that write federal rules and regulations. So we need to follow these executive orders because now he's making these people accountable. Remember, all these other people, they're making policies, and when the president said to change the policies, they fought back. Then he had to get rid of them. Well, now things are about to change. And we can see out with the countries out in Europe, it's already changing out there. Remember, Trump has placed pressure on these countries, especially the NATO countries, saying, listen, the United States is no longer going to pay for all of this. You need to chip in. And of course, the mainstream media and all these countries went crazy. How dare you? And what's happening though? Well, NATO spending has increased for the 6th consecutive year thanks to new contributions from allies. And basically, they're stepping up to the plate and they're paying their fair share, where the United States no longer has to pay their fair share. And we've seen this with the World Health Organization. We're seeing it with the World Trade Organization. This is why Trump removed us from the World Health Organization. Yes, there's other reasons why he did this. But the United States was paying a lot of money to all these organizations, and the other countries were paying absolutely nothing. Actually, with the Paris Climate Accord, this is what they wanted the United States to do. They wanted the United States to pay for everything. And this was not about making the world green. This was about making money and having people taxed and having the United States pay for it all. And if you want to see that video, you can come on to the X22report.com. Dr. Shiva explains the whole entire thing. And what we've been seeing with this pandemic, this is the only thing that the mainstream media has to push because they have nothing else. And all they talk about is masks. They talk about all the deaths. And of course, they keep flashing the numbers all over the mainstream media to make everyone believe that this pandemic is the worst thing we've ever seen. But actually, it has a recovery rate of 99.99%, depending on your age bracket. And this is from Paul Sperry. From recent medical studies data, 1, COVID not widely spread by air, but through contact, mainly through bathrooms. Number 2, COVID not as infectious as claimed. Cases overinflated by false positive, only 10% contagious. Number 3, COVID not the killer it's hyped to be, only 6% death directly tied. And we know all this. Yes, the mainstream media knows this. The CDC knows this. All these organizations know this, but they have their marching orders and they're not going to go up against it. Scott Atlas, who's Dr. Scott Atlas, who talks about masks and talks about other things, what do they do to him? They censor him. Remember, if they want to prove that all of this is what they say it is, let them prove it. They have never shown us clinical trials, peer-reviewed, that masks actually work with all the different materials. Because when you go out there, you see someone wearing a bandana, you see someone wearing a shirt, you see someone wearing a surgical mask, you see someone wearing a homemade mask. They've never shown us anything. They just told us that masks work. Remember, in the beginning, they told us masks didn't work. Then they told us masks did work. If they actually worked for all these years, they would have been telling us to wear it during flu season. Let's go back to basic science. How large are these particles? Does the mask actually stop these particles? That's where it would fall apart. And these are the questions that need to be asked to these individuals and have them answer it with fact, with proof, which, if you notice, none of the mainstream media reporters have done. Not one of them. And they're never going to do it because they're following their marching orders. Now, what's very interesting is that we saw a false flag event, and we knew that this was coming somehow, some way. And if this is all they have, it failed before it even got started. This is what Trump tweeted out. Radcliffe, Iran and Russia have obtained voter info. Iran has tried to damage President Trump. So Radcliffe stated that Iran and Russia have obtained voter registration information that can be used to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy. He also stated that Iran has sent spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage Trump, and has pushed content that makes untrue claims about people casting fraudulent ballots. Radcliffe also said that while they have not seen the same actions being taken by Russia, they have obtained voter information like they did in 2016. He continued, "We would like to alert the public that we have identified that 2 foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific action to influence public opinion relating to our elections. First, we have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, so chaos, and so forth. So what happened? Well, it seems that they got this information and they sent out a spoofed emails coming from the Proud Boys. And this message went out saying that if you come to the voter polls, we're going to mess you up. We're going to stop you. Now, think about why they were doing this. They were doing this because they want people to, what? Vote by mail. Do you really think it was Iran? Or do you think it was the deep state pushing this agenda? And once this message went out there, what happened? Well, the Lincoln Project, they jumped on board, the mainstream media jumped on board, and they made it as though it was fact. Did Twitter say, let's prove this first? Let's stop this viral message from going around? No, they just let it flow because they're part of the problem. And this is what the Lincoln Project put out there in their tweet. They deleted it later. The Proud Boys are attempting to scare voters away from the polls. This is punishable by up to a year in jail and blatant attempt to prevent people from voting. Let's find them and make them famous. And then when the information started to come out, what happened? They deleted it later on. And Sean Davis tweeted this out. Looks like Iran is currently running the Twitter account for Democrats on the House Homeland Security Committee. And, of course, they deleted this too, but he captured it before they got rid of it. And this is what it says. This is from the House Homeland Security Committee. Do not listen to Ratcliffe. Partisan hack. So, where was this all coming from? This was a false flag attempt to push the idea that it would be scary to go to the polls, that you'll have to use the mail-in voting, and that Trump followers, they're dangerous, they're terrorists. This completely backfired. Why? Because they're not in control of the intelligence organization. They don't have that control anymore. And as soon as the truth started to come out, they started to delete all their messages. And this is what's so great about social media and digital soldiers that show facts and truth. They can counter what the mainstream media is trying to do. I mean, Rachel Maddow and all the others, they were pushing this very hard, just like Russian collusion. Just like she said, Trump is never going to bring in the hospital ships during COVID. And he brought them right in. She's wrong every single time. But what Trump did, he signed legislation making hacking the voting systems a federal crime. Timing is absolutely perfect. Now, are there going to be other false flags? Yes, I think they're going to get worse as time goes on because remember, we had a lot of information drop today. So let's get into some Q's posts and we'll go through all of this. This is October 21st, 2020. It says, and this is a previous post, which is December 17, 2019. It says, the swamp runs deep, sleepers everywhere, think coats, wheels in motion. Then gives us post 3537. This is from July 29, 2019. And an anon on the board said, Ray is a sleeper. Q responded, said, future marker. So what is a sleeper or a sleeper terrorist? This is an individual who's currently non-active, but becomes active in order to carry out its orders. It's unexpected, and people are shocked by it. Well, it seems that the Patriots already know and has been telling us that Ray is a sleeper. Let's move on to post 4919. This is a Twitter link to War Room Pandemic. And it says, hey, Frank Lutz, can you confirm this email asking for Speaker Ryan? We may have a few more that could confirm as well. And it says, Frank Lutz, really, to Robert Biden. Because of your dad hasn't said word one to me since the moment he was nominated for vice president. Zero, zip, nothing. That's why fair weather friends get fair weather treatment. And Bo knows I feel this way. That's not how I treat anyone in politics or in life. And by the way, I declared your dad the winner of his debate against Paul Ryan, even though Ryan is an actual current client. Whoa, that's interesting. Down below, this is an email from Hunter Biden to Frank Lutz. And it says, I love you. Bo loves you. But how can you go on TV and not mention the Jeep ad? Just in fairness, moving Jeep to China. That's not worth talking about as one of the most outright fabrications ever paid for on television. Again, think you are smarter than anyone in politics, but if you're doing a piece on ads in the last days, leaving that one is just ... So down below it says, client, political pollster for sale? Do you see how it works? Enemy of the people. Post 4,920. It says, do you remember when #MeToo? Let's talk about protecting yourself. Detectives have replaced the medals a Marine vet lost in a burglary in Virginia. Arrests for burglary were made, but the original medals were never recovered. The 84-year-old Vietnam vet was floored at the lengths the detectives went through to replace the medals. We should do everything we can to prevent burglaries like this from happening in the first place, which is why I have solar stair lights on my properties. These ultra-bright lights are great not only for lighting up my house to deter burglars, but they're great for being able to see my steps when I'm going up and down them at night. Best of all, they're completely solar-powered. Along with my steps, you can put them on fences, you can put them on docks and railings. If you want to get your own solar stair lights for 65% off, please visit solarstairlight.com or click the link below. Lost all credibility when they refused to support Tara Reade. Now, she was pressing charges against Joe Biden, saying that he came on to her, that he sexually molested her, and all of a sudden, the Me Too movement completely fell apart. Because remember, the Me Too movement was, you have to believe the women, but no one was believing her. That's strange. Let me continue. It says, claims of sexual assault by Joe Biden. Political movement? Q. Yes, it was a political movement. Post 4,921. This is a meme, and it says, and this is, by the way, Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein in the picture, and it says, a deep, dark world being exposed. The truth won't be for everyone. Have faith in humanity. And the mainstream media, they don't want people to see this world because they're pretending it doesn't exist. It's not real. They're in panic mode right now. And NPR, this is what they tweeted out about Hunter Biden and about Joe Biden. And this is coming from NPR public editor. Why haven't you seen any stories from NPR about the New York Post Hunter Biden story? Well, down below it says, we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. And we don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions. So wait a minute. Are you trying to say that you know for a fact that this isn't true? I mean, they reported on the Russian collusion that turned out to be fake. How do they know this unless they investigate it? Enemy of the people. This is what we see here. And then we have Nancy Pelosi, and this is Tom Elliott tweeting this out. She was taking questions from reporters. She was talking about coronavirus, and a reporter asked her about Hunter Biden. Listen to what she said.
Agreement on state and local funding? No, and on liability.
No.
Madam Speaker, these serious allegations of corruption involving Joe Biden have been raised in recent days.
I'm sorry, I'm not answering your questions, okay? We're talking about the coronavirus. That's what I don't have all day for questions. That's what we're taking now. Anybody have a question on the coronavirus negotiations? Yes.
That she doesn't have time for that. She's here to talk about COVID because that's their agenda. If you're going to talk about Hunter, we have to bring it back to mass. If you're going to talk about Joe Biden, we have to bring it back to coronavirus. If you're going to talk about the pictures on his laptop, you got to bring it back to the mass, to COVID. That's their plan. Let's move on to post 4,922. There's a Fox News link, and it says laptop connected to Hunter Biden linked to FBI money laundering probe. Let me read a portion of this. The FBI subpoena of a laptop and hard drive purportedly belonging to Hunter Biden came in connection with a money laundering investigation in late 2019. According to documents and verified by multiple federal law enforcement officials who reviewed them, it is unclear at this point whether the investigation is ongoing or if it was directly related to Hunter Biden. Multiple federal law enforcement officials, as well as two separate government officials, confirmed the authenticity of these documents, which were signed by FBI Special Agent Joshua Wilson, which we know he's head of the child porn division. And is he blocking this information, or is he really investigating? Down below in this article says, the FBI cannot open a case without predication, so they believe there was predication for criminal activity. This means there was sufficient evidence to believe that there was criminal conduct. Another document obtained by Fox News was a subpoena sent to Isaac to testify before U.S. District Court in Delaware on December 9, 2019. Then we move to post 4923. This is a Twitter link to VRS Virginia. This is Virginia Guffrey, and it says, "The Great Awakening Worldwide, Document Dump, Let the People Decide, End CS and Sex Trafficking, Thank You." And down below, it's at Paris Hilton and many other people. Q says, and responded to this, "Dearest Virginia, we stand with you, now and always. Find peace through prayer. Never give up the good fight. God bless." Post 4924. Q says, "Booms en route tomorrow. This is not a drill." And Trump was at his rally. This was yesterday. And listen to what he said.
15 days from now, and you see what's going on. You see, boom, boom, boom. Oh, they're getting a little nervous over there, you know, the deep state, the Democrats. All of these people that we've been dealing with, they're getting a little bit nervous, aren't they, huh?
What did he say? Boom, boom, boom. 4 booms, actually. So it looks like there's a lot more coming. Post 4925 gives us an older post, and this is Christopher Wray, and he is X'd out. So the question is, will the sleeper be removed? Will he be fired for not doing anything about the evidence? Because right now he's just sitting on it. And Trump wants an official action to Comey's last-minute Clinton email announcement in 2016. So he wants Wray to do something, just like Comey did. Post 4926 gives us a picture of Gina Haspel, and it says non-CIA background next. So remember, Haspel, she's been blocking the declassification of some of the Russia hoax docs. And her non-CIA background is next. Will we see her UK bio? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll have to see where this leads us. Or will she be X'd out with a red X? Let's move on to post 4927. Gives us a picture of David Bowdwich. And who is this individual? He's the deputy director. In March of 2018, David was appointed deputy director of the FBI. In this role, he oversees all FBI domestic and international investigative and intelligence activities. In April 2016, he assumed the position of associate deputy director of the FBI, where he oversaw the management of all FBI personnel, budget, and administration. So is Q pointing this out, saying that this individual might be holding things back? Are they the block? And then we have post 4928. This is a picture of Bishop being sworn in. And who is this individual? This is Vaughn Bishop. So who is Vaughn Bishop? Well, he's a colleague and friend of Director Haspel. He worked with her years ago when Director Haspel was a senior operations officer and Bishop was a senior analyst. They found themselves working together on difficult missions from opposite sides of the agency. So this is very interesting. So is Q posting these pics with deputy directors for both the FBI and CIA? Were they the ones behind the slow walking of Russia hoax investigations? Are they on the chopping block? Are they going to be removed? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how this plays out. Post 4929 gives us an FBI.gov link, and it says Jill C. Tyson, Assistant Director, Office of Congressional Affairs. Jill C. Tyson was named Assistant Director of the Office of Congressional Affairs in February 2019. Ms. Tyson had previously served as the Acting Assistant Director. Prior to joining the FBI in 2018, Ms. Tyson held a number of positions in the Department of Justice. She served as Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Office of Legislative Affairs, as the Chief Public Information Officer at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and as a Special Assistant U.S. Attorney prosecuting criminal matters in D.C. Q. And then we have post 4930, Alan E. Kohler Jr., Assistant Director, Counterintelligence Division. Allen was named Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division in April of 2020. Mr. Kohler had most recently served as the special agent in charge of the Washington Field Office's Counterintelligence Division. Kohler joined the FBI as a special agent in '96 and worked counterintelligence matters at the Washington Field Office. Not very clear why Q is telling us about these two individuals and their FBI bios, but wondering if they are embedded CIA agents or are they going to be used for something else? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Let's move on to post 4931. This is a Breitbart article. It says, bombshell statement, Biden insider claims he was recipient of the email. Says he witnessed Joe Hunter discussing deals. And it says, a whistleblower, CEO and Biden insider, Tony Bobulinski, released a public statement on Wednesday evening backing up the reporting of the New York Post from last week and claiming that he personally witnessed Democrat presidential nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden discussing business deals with his son. Bobulinski's statement has also seemingly authenticates at least one of the bombshell emails obtained by the New York Post. Now, this individual named Tony said in a press statement that my name is Tony. The facts set forth below are true and accurate. They are not any form of domestic or foreign disinformation. Any suggestion to the contrary is false and offensive. I am the recipient of the email published 7 days ago by the New York Post, which showed up a copy to Hunter Biden and Rob Walker. That email is genuine. So right there, he's saying yes, he's confirming this. And according to Tony, the use of the term big guy in one such email was a direct reference to Joe Biden himself. So we have big guy, which refers to Joe Biden. He received this email and he's letting everyone know this. And it seems that he's handing everything over to the FBI and the Department of Justice. This is very interesting. Let's continue. Post 4932. Q gives us a graphic, and it says Franklin Templeton Mutual Shares Fund Class C, and it says 15,000 to 50,000, income 2,500 to 5,000, capital gains, dividends. Down below gives us BlackRock California Municipal Income Trust, and this says income 5,000 to 15,000, and BlackRock Muni Holdings California Quality Fund 1,000 to 2,500. Then gives us another graphic, and it's highlighted in red. It says last week, November 14th, the Prosecutor General Office, PGO, unnoticed by the media, announced a new suspicion to the notorious owner of Burisma, ex-ecology minister Zlochevsky. According to the suspicion, the Yanukovych family is suspected in particular with legalizing laundering of criminally obtained income through Franklin Templeton Investments, an investment fund carrying out purchases of external government loan bonds totaling $7.4 million. Down below it says the son of Templeton's founder, John Templeton Jr., was one of President Obama's major campaign donors. Another fund-related character is Thomas Donilon, managing director of BlackRock Investment Institute, shareholder Franklin Templeton Investments, which has the largest share in the fund. It is noteworthy that he previously was Obama's national security advisor. So this is interesting because Schiff is connected to both BlackRock and Franklin Templeton Investments, and it seems that Obama is connected to all of this. So it seems like we have a lot of connections here, and these individuals worked in the Obama administration. Then we move to post 4933. It says, did Hussein contact Matt Murray in attempt to persuade not to publish? Well, who is Matt Murray? Well, it seems that he's the Wall Street Journal editor. So did Hussein, which is Barack Obama, use his influence to say, do not publish any articles about Hunter or Joe Biden? And then down below, Q says, will Murray follow the truth or buckle to pressure? D.C. Civil War. Watergate times 1,000. Well, it looks like he tried to do this, and the Wall Street Journal, they printed it, and it says a laptop window on the oligarchy. Hunter Biden was for sale to anybody who wanted influence with his father. So what does this tell us? It tells us that Obama does not have the pull he once had, because the editor went forward with this. Post 4,934. This is a Fox News links, and it says, Hunter Biden business partner calls email genuine. Says Hunter sought dad's advice on deals. So Tony said he does not believe Joe Biden's claim that he did not discuss it with his son. Tony, again, who was listed on the emails, is saying no, he knows this for a fact, that he did do this. And what's very interesting is that Mike Emanuel tweeted this out. May 20th, 2017, text exchange obtained by Fox News. Tony is warned by business partner James Gillier, don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid, which I'm told is a reference to Joe Biden, and actually shows the messages. And it says, ask if they have recommendation, or I would do it short term if needed. But maybe he feels better if H puts there a friend with no power but reporting, comms. Don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. So this is on the individual's BlackBerry that they posted. And then Richard Grenell responded to this. Wow, smoking gun. This is going to implode a whole bunch of careers in journalism for ignoring this scandal. And one name included in these emails, but not really talked about, is Rob Walker. Who is Rob Walker? He's the husband of Betsy Massey Walker, the longtime White House personal assistant of who? Jill Biden. This is Joe Biden's wife. Boom. It's all in the family. The only thing Joe Biden did right now that everyone is seeing, yes, they're seeing the corruption, but they're making a very strong case of why we need to audit the family's tax returns and to put term limits on politicians. Didn't Q mention this before? Yes. Yes, Q has. Let's move on to post 4,935. This is a Fox News link, and it says, Harris, prominent Democrat listed as key contacts for Biden family business ventures. Let me read a portion of this. A list of key domestic contacts for a joint venture involving Jim and Hunter Biden, and now bankrupt CEFC China Energy Company, included Vice President Joe Biden's current running mate, Senator Kamala Harris. Gee, I wonder why she's the running mate right now. It's starting to fit. An email with the subject line, Phase 1 Domestic Contacts Projects, and dated May 15, 2017, Biden's brother, Jim Biden, shared a list of key domestic contacts for Phase 1 target projects. Well, the list includes Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Amy Klobuchar, Dianne Feinstein, Kristen Gillibrand, Andrew Cuomo, de Blasio, and others. That's interesting. All these individuals. It's all starting to fit. And Q down below says key domestic contacts for Phase 1 target projects. Listed all those names and says Pandora's political elite box. Unbelievable. Now we move on to post 4,936. This is a link to baldingsworld.com. Now, this is a PDF document which shows all the connections with the Bidens and how they laundered the money and who is connected. And it shows all these different investigations. Now, this is from Typhoon Investigations, so it looks like there's been investigations going on, and it lists all these individuals, and it connects all the dots. So all the information is in here, and it shows all the different business dealings and how they worked all of this. And what we come to find out is that it's not just about these business dealings. It's just not about the money laundering. It's about what's on the hard drive. 40 to 50 images of alleged child endangerment with young family members, a 14-year-old. And it shows pictures of Hunter Biden with the 14-year-old. This is going to be devastating. And we come to find out, and this is coming from Catherine Herridge, that the Senate investigators seek Hunter Biden's records. According to October 21st letter addressed to a team of lawyers, Deadline October 23rd, which is tomorrow. According to recent reports that published emails allegedly from your client's laptop, the committees have identified your client as an individual involved in one or more of these business arrangements or financial transactions. As part of this ongoing effort to validate, verify the information in those emails, the committees request that your client provide all records related to any of your client's business dealings, including but not limited to bank records, wire transfers, account balances, gifts, business transactions, travel records with Joe Biden, James Biden, Yi Jinping, Xi Ping Patrick, Zhang Jianjun, and the rest. And they want all of this information from other associates regarding CEFC China Energy Company or any other transaction related to businesses in Romania, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Czech Republic, or any other country. So they're asking for all of this. This is not going away. This is the patriots inflicting pain on the Bidens, which is then connected to other individuals that are trying to protect him. This is just the beginning. Then we have post 4,937. Gives us a screenshot here, and it says 45 out of 50 U.S. governors did not force COVID-19 infected patients into the nursing homes, but 5 of them did. And has a picture of Andrew Cuomo of New York, Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, Phil Murphy of New Jersey, Gavin Newsom of California, and Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. That is nearly 40% of all COVID-19 deaths in the United States. That's not an accident. That's premeditated murder. Down below it says, tonight at the debate, when they push death count versus POTUS, remember this simple fact. And we can see that these individuals, the patriots, are now hunting them down, putting pressure on them, dripping the information out, and it's being done on purpose. Why? Because they want to see what these individuals are going to do next. Remember, the cover-up gets you. And you know they're scrambling right now because all this information is coming out. Now, the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, they're just not reporting on it. They're pretending it doesn't exist, that it's fake. And people are wondering, how can it be so fake when everything is connected? And people are saying, yes, this is real. And people are searching out the real information. So what does the deep state have to do? Well, they have to censor. They have to push a false flag. More is on its way. Be prepared. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.